So recently, I've been replaying both OG Final Fantasy VII and Remake, and I noticed something kind of important that I haven't seen anyone else talk about. I think that Jenova is going to play a bigger role than anyone realizes. What got me speculating was when we got the title reveal for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Just hearing the name got me thinking, what could it mean? Rebirth obviously has to mean something significant. Some think that it's related to Genesis because of the Red Flash and Square also redoing Crisis Core. And while I do think that Genesis will be involved in Rebirth somehow, I don't think that the title would revolve around him. I've heard people say that it could be because we'll be able to revive a certain party member that gets killed later in the game. I'm just gonna say that I highly doubt that. But I've also heard people say that it's because we're going to reach the Northern Crater by the end of Rebirth, and we know that that's where Sephiroth is reborn. This makes the most sense, but I don't think that this is it either. We already know that Sephiroth is gonna come back. And if it's anything like Remake's title, we know that the meaning won't be so obvious. But a little fun fact. In the Japanese version of OG Final Fantasy VII, Bizarro Sephiroth is called Rebirth Sephiroth, so who knows? But what I think is that Rebirth signifies Jenova, and that Sephiroth is going to revive her. I know it sounds crazy, but I have some evidence and I'm positive that by the end of this video, this won't sound so crazy, and who knows, maybe you'll even be with me on this. Before I continue, I just want to say to please share this video or comment and share your thoughts. I really want to know what everyone's thinking. And if you don't want to share the video, then at least talk about this with your friends. I like to get as many people as possible talking about this, especially if it's something that could happen. But enough wasting time. Here's how I came to this theory. After playing Remake for the first time, there was something that always bothered me. In OG FF7, Sephiroth clones never transform into Sephiroth. It's always parts of Jenova that do this. But in Remake, we see on multiple occasions that it's clones that transform into Sephiroth. At first it's just Cloud seeing this, which kinda makes sense because it's all in Cloud's head. But it's in Shinra HQ where things start to get weird because everyone can see the clones as Sephiroth. Sephiroth never did anything like this originally, but Jenova is capable of doing this. So, if I'm understanding correctly, it's because of Jenova using her powers of illusion that the clones are able to repair Sephiroth to everyone. But here's the thing. In OG FF7, Jenova never had to do that. Clones didn't come in and take her out, and she left on her own after making herself transform into Sephiroth. Or at least that's what we're made to believe. And I know what you're gonna say, there's a lot of things that didn't happen in OG that happens in Remake, but this is very important in my eyes, because it seems as if Jenova's body is being protected. In Remake, the clones come in to retrieve her and we end up fighting Jenova Dreamweaver, which is an illusion projected by Jenova. We see that when Jenova Dreamweaver is defeated, Clone 49 is the one that disappears and Jenova's body drops, only to then be picked up by Clone 2. Why this is important is because in OG FF7, whenever we fight Jenova, we are fighting a physical piece of her that transforms and disappears when defeated, meaning parts of her are being destroyed by the party. Here, we clearly see that not only is it an illusion that we fight, but it's not even Jenova herself, it's a clone that gets taken out. I think that Sephiroth wants to keep Jenova fully intact in order to revive her at full power, whether it be for utilizing more of her power for himself or having her join him in an alliance. In OG FF7, Jenova's synthesis is the fullest form that we ever see of her, and that form is made from the remaining parts that weren't destroyed by Cloud and his friends. So, what if we see a fully reborn Jenova with all of her parts intact? And if Sephiroth is holding the reins to all of that power, he'd definitely be a lot more powerful than we've ever seen him before. I couldn't find any concrete proof of this, but I've heard people say that Sephiroth combines with Jenova's remains to transform into Bizarro Sephiroth and then into Safer Sephiroth. Again, no proof, just thought I'd share that info. But one last thing before I go. I think that this might blow your mind. In OG FF7, when we fight the pieces of Jenova, they are called Jenova Birth, Jenova Life, Jenova Death, and Jenova Synthesis. The names of Jenova Birth, Life, and Death are alluded to samsara, which is the repeating cycle of birth, life, and death in Buddhism. Samsara is the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, without beginning or end. So maybe in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Jenova will be fully restored, and we'll not only have Sephiroth to deal with, but a full-powered Jenova. And that's all I have for this theory. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and that's okay. Coming up with this theory has been fun, and it's definitely something that I plan on doing more of. Whether I'm right or wrong doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. I'll find any excuse to talk about Final Fantasy VII. Please like the video if you liked it, and share it with anyone you think might be interested in Final Fantasy VII theories. Be sure to comment if you have any theories of your own, and subscribe if you're into Final Fantasy VII. I'm Mako, and I hope to see you all in the next video, but until then, take care.